Hello everybody, my name is Luke Marr and this is Hot Mode, and today on Hot Mode we are coming to you with a Super Bowl 2024 fashion roast. Not words I thought I would ever say, not a sentence I ever really thought would work in my vernacular ever, and yet here we are. Listen, there was the Super Bowl, and I know it was a while ago, but like there were some fashion things happening. I won't say like fashion moments, I would say things involving fashion happened. And so I think we should talk about it. Now, also, I apologize about the setup here. It's Fashion Week. I'm in Milan, the hotel room. We're working with what we got. We got to do what we can do. And so I am wearing this little beautiful diesel jacket, coating and canvassing. Thank you, Glenn Martins. Now let's get into the video. First up, we have Alicia Keys, who's wearing Dolce & Gabbana, and she performed at the Super Bowl halftime show. I was gonna say halftime party, but halftime show. And she's wearing this fully red, embellished and sequined cat suit. It has a visible corset situation going on. We can see the boning of it in the front, and that sort of helps to cinch in the waist. Out of all the Dolce & Gabbana that I feel like I've seen in recent times, this is one of the better moments. I think that it fit her beautifully. I think that they did a really good job in terms of construction. I think also, while she wasn't doing like a whole lot of dancing from what I remember, it still seems to me that they incorporated and understood the need for performance pieces to actually move and to be able to let the body sway in different ways. And I think that it also was visually kind of appealing. Like you're seeing the red, it's bright, it's popping. There was a lot of places I didn't want to look during that performance. Alicia Keys was like a nice center point that I said, okay, I can stare here and things are fine and I can be content. And I did like the big cape. I don't remember if they had that during the actual performance or if that was just part of the little outfit that she's wearing here in this picture. But I think the cape really helps. I think it adds drama. I think it adds excitement. And then also she could just rip it off and then do the full just catsuit look. Listen, she looked hot. Next up, we have Andra Day, who wore Fear of God. Andra Day is a fashion girly. I love her. I think she's great. I think she's very understated and subtle. And I think the Fear of God, well, I don't think that she's actually understated and subtle. I really like Andra Day. I think she's a fashion girly. I think she enjoys clothing. I've literally seen her like say, I like fashion. It's something that I have a personal interest in. And I think that always comes across. Something that I think is really interesting is normally we see her in very kind of like bright, bold, popping outfits, in my opinion. But this Fear of God style is very minimal and chic, really kind of like in the quiet luxury realm. Jerry Lorenzo just makes very expensive, nice quality clothes. And so this lapel-less coat, I think, is really chic, or blazer. The length of it is nice. I like the fact that it's double-breasted, but there's just one set of buttons. And the white t-shirt underneath is okay. I think it's fine. I do like the fact that the sleeves are rolled also, but I will say, I think that it makes the jacket look just a little bit longer, and I think that dichotomy doesn't really help me with the proportions. I do like the pants, and I love the shoes. I think the shoe is like a perfect mule choice. It's not rah sis boom ba, but at the same time, like she's not wearing full Super Bowl regalia, so like I'm happy with that. And speaking of Super Bowl regalia, this one is rough. Because see, when I saw Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo in these outfits, initially I saw the L and the V, the sequin pink and green looks, and I said, oh, Las Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. 100% get it. Totally understand. Cool, cool, cool. Get into the glitz and the glam and the feathers and the showgirls, ladies. And then I realized that it is Louis Vuitton, and I was not content. Listen, I like the fact that LV was like, we'll make something for the two of you to A, celebrate Wicked, and B, celebrate, I think, partially the Super Bowl. Cool, we got you girls. Because obviously Cynthia Erivo is playing Elphaba in Wicked and Ariana Grande is playing Glenda the Good Witch. And so pink and green, it makes sense. But at the same time, like even Louis Vuitton makes mistakes is a phraseology that the Countess, she was right. I appreciate what they were trying to do. I really, really do. I appreciate what these like shirt dresses are trying to go for. I think it's very Americana and all that stuff, but I hate Americana. It's tacky. Very rarely does anybody do Americana and make me say, oh, so chic, so wonderful. And this definitely, I think, is not the way to go about being chic and wonderful. And maybe it wasn't meant to be. Maybe it was meant to just sort of be standoutish and loud and proud and all that. What I did really like is the incorporation of the LV pieces over top and the accessories. Like Cynthia is wearing this sort of crisscross little gray and brown jacket. That's very Nicolas Ghesquière to me. Like it's a motif that I feel like I've seen from him time and time again in different iterations. And I like like it. And I think the same with Ariana, that black leather coat has a little twinge of Nicola. I also think that you have the Botte Chapeau bag, which Ariana is carrying, which is like a mini version of a hat box trunk by LV. And then the shoes are the shoes. It's fine. It's really just the dresses, which again, I understand and I appreciate that they went for it. I just also I hate it. There was a lot of Dolce & Gabbana-ing, and I think it's really interesting to see the brands that were doing placements during the entirety of the Super Bowl. Like, marketing is happening. We're seeing it. Now, Beyonce is wearing this full Dolce look. It is very much so incorporating the fact that she released 2 country songs the day of the Super Bowl. We first up have this little plunging black mini dress and a large tailored jacket over top that hits around the knee area. More of a coat than a jacket. And she's wearing a little cowboy hat, which I like. I think that fits in with her thing. And then her boots, which are thigh highs, aren't really cowboy boots at all, but I love that she has spurs on them. I don't think I've ever seen a celebrity wear a pair of spurs, like real spurs, because stereotypical country western styles, you think of like the guys walking in the saloon, wah, 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 you know, they move their legs like that, and they have the little spiky things at the back, and I don't really know exactly what spurs are for. I'm sure that it has something to do with like when you're riding a horse or you dig your foot into the horse to make it go faster, which is still crazy to me. Something only Beyonce would do. And then when she takes the style off, I don't really love the boots with the jacket as much. I think that the coat and the hat really add a lot to it. I think that the length of the dress and the shoe by itself doesn't really work too well. I think it just creates a very strange and short amount of skin, kind of cuts her off a little bit. But full look, I like. Deconstructed, we could do that. Next up, we have Blake Lively, who was wearing Adidas, and she's wearing this little tracksuit. It's a red track top and a red track bottom and a white crop top. And I was like, oh, this is like a Chiefs thing. I was like, oh, it's just interesting that she's wearing just Adidas or Adidas. And then I found out that it actually is the Balenciaga Adidas collaboration collection. I don't mind it. I think that it fits. I think it works. I think the fact that she has like the jacket kind of off of her shoulders is fun. I think it adds a little bit of like a casualness. I also like the fact that she did a full stacking of these big chunky gold bracelets. I think it's really cool. I think it works. I think it also helps to sort of push the jacket up and sort of allows her wrists, even though they're covered in big chunky jewelry, to actually be a little bit slimmer than the rest of what the arm is being covered by. So I think it was an interesting little strategy. I feel like she's wearing like a little Tiffany necklace, maybe. Out of everybody, this is probably the most chic yet casual of the looks. I don't know. Blake Lively, she knows what she's doing at all times. Now, listen, we're going to get to Taylor. Don't worry. We're going to get to Ice Spice. Don't worry. We'll get there. Next up, we have Brittany Mahomes. Now, listen, Brittany is not a fashion girl, which from the fact that I have been forced into liking football from multiple angles now in my life, I've realized not everybody loves Brittany. Maybe they're happy with her fashion choices, but this is something that I think she does do, these kind of like campy, kitschy, sport, full ensembles to support her husband, Patrick Mahomes, who's on the Chiefs. And I think that this little patent leather corset bodice and cargo pant set kind of works. I think it looks good for what it is. I don't love it. It's not something I would ever wear or would ever ask for somebody to create, but I do think it looks nice enough and she's keeping in with her theme. I also feel like she has yet to make the jump to fashion status, I would say, where she's working with fashion designers or there's certain designers that want to dress her. She wants to be dressed by them. We are seeing, we're in Milan, and I just want to say, I did see Jason Kelce's wife was at Alberto Ferretti. The Kelces are working their angles very, very well. But Brittany, I feel like, still needs to make that jump if she wants to do that. She might not want to do that. And so this might just be her shtick, and she likes it, and she's happy with it. And you know what? It's camp. To me, it's very campy, it's very kitsch. She thinks, wow, I am so chic. The definition of camp is thinking you're chic when you might not be, but like I still think technically if you're really doing camp well, which I think she is, I don't hate it because I think I understand the context of it. If I didn't understand the context of it, I really would be like, ooh, I do my research. Next up, we have Charles Omenihu, and he is wearing Rick Owens. And like, I do love a sport player that is willing to lend himself to the aesthetic. And I think that he is doing that. So this Rick Owens top is obviously made up of a knit, but the knit has almost been sort of stretched and ripped and torn in certain places, which is why you actually see the little tiny pieces of yarn that have stretched now to expose the body. And that is meant to be that way. It's supposed to look like that. And I really respect Charles, because I think very rarely would you see somebody that exists in this sort of very like masculine, heteronormative industry say, you know what, I'm gonna go for it. And I feel like slowly but surely that's happening more and more from what I'm seeing culturally in the sport world. I respect that Charles just said, fuck it, I'm gonna wear my little tank top, and like, what are you gonna do about it? I think the pant works with it, honestly. I think it makes sense. I think that it allows the shirt to really do all the talking. I don't love the shoe, I'll be honest. I think if we're gonna like do a Rick moment, go full for it. I feel like there are nice beautiful boots from Rick, maybe even like a Geo basket, a sneaker of some sort from the Rick. The way that the pants cover the Geo basket, I was like, oh, it's a pair of Vans or something, but I think they really are Geo baskets, because I'm looking at even the construction of the sole, and those are Geo baskets. So Charles, I apologize. I will say, I do wish maybe that there was a little bit more shoe visible. Maybe even like the big tongue of a Rick moment would help, even if we just tucked the front in and the back covered the back of the Geo basket. And that's possible because I own Geo baskets and I know that you can do that. So I think maybe the styling of it a little bit could have been fixed there, but I really respect Charles. Love a fashion man. Stan. Next up, we have Christian McCaffrey, and he is wearing Ralph Lauren. Now, this is Ralph Lauren's purple label. It's the most expensive label of Ralph Lauren. It's a double-breasted, kind of chalk stripe suit, and I think it looks good. I think that it makes sense for Ralph and for Christian to wear something like this. It's a very sort of suave man suiting. If you don't want to do full fashion like a Charles, I think this is the other direction that a lot of them go in, where they have a nice suit. Sometimes the suits don't always fit super well. This one I think fits well. I think that the use of the chalk stripe is really good. I think it's helped. I think it makes it not feel like just a black suit that's boring, uninteresting, and blah. I do wish again that the shoe was changed a little bit. I get wearing a dress shoe, but like maybe a boot. I think in this context, your like little tunnel walk, I feel like a nice boot would look good, Christian. I do love the big Birkin though. Love that. Very chic. Very fun. I think it all works. I think he looks good. I changed the shoe, but like besides that, pretty solid. Next up, we have Hailey Bieber, who is wearing Saint Laurent. She was doing her full Saint Laurent lady look. It's a little leopard faux fur jacket, and it has sort of big 80s-esque shoulders, which makes sense for Saint Laurent. A pair of jeans and a pair of red, pretty, not beat up, but definitely used red Saint Laurent heels, which I kind of love. I think the shoe really helps me sort of be like, oh, Hailey not only is like an ambassador for the brand and wears it all the time, but like it seems like she actually wears some of the pieces a lot, and it seems like it's something that is part of her wardrobe, which I think helps, in my opinion, sell the fantasy of being like a brand ambassador. I think that the jeans work. I think that it's cool, it's casual, it's easy. I don't love the jacket, but I think I understand the jacket, and I get the silhouette, and I get the material, and like I get it. Do I obviously wish there was more like, of course, but like also she was just going to like watch the Super Bowl, so like I understand. Next up, we have Ice Spice, who is wearing Balenciaga. The people that are very into finding like conspiracy theories about fashion and also like Satanism, we're very like, Ice Spice is being very open about her Satanistic qualities, and that's because I think the necklace she's wearing, which I mean, sure, but also like it's meant to be a cross, but like no offense to everybody, but like a cross is kind of like a universal symbol. Like not one culture and religion owns it. It's kind of a pretty basic shape, to be honest. And I do like the necklace. I think it's cool. I think that the color, it's sort of like this nice purpley color, is really intriguing, and it has little jutting out of like thorns and things, which I grew up Catholic, so like I have some understanding of the fact that I'm saying thorns and crosses and things. I understand where people are coming from, but we gotta sometimes also not center ourselves in everything. What I will say though, the Balenciaga full dress, don't laugh. Listen, I don't mind if Ice Spice becomes like a full Balenciaga woman or whatever. I know people don't like Balenciaga. You don't have to like Balenciaga. That's fine. But I also just like don't love the current iteration of Balenciaga. I feel like it's just gone super duper. Everything feels trapped and like constricted, and everything's like sportswear and selling only commercial product. And there's the creativity element to me is really like gone from it, which I think that was the important element of the brand, was the pushing and the trying and the making waves, and the backlash is the backlash, I understand the backlash. But at the same time, I wish that we didn't totally sanitize the brand. And I think that Ice Spice's like full dress is a perfect example of the sanitization of Balenciaga under Demna because of the backlash. And I think it's either, again, I say this every time that I talk about it now, is either shit or get off the pot. Like it's kind of blah to just see it be blah all the time and to not continue to push forward. If you're not going to do that, like, I don't want to just commercial sportswear from Balenciaga, the brand. We tolerated the commercial sportswear because the history of Balenciaga and Cristobal and things like that. But like, if this is all we're going to get, I don't want it. Take it back. Thank you. Next up, we have Jet McKinnon, who is wearing Bottega Veneta. Honestly, I kind of like this. I think it's casual. It looks like it's denim, but it's Bottega. So I'm not going to assume it's denim. It could be leather. It could be moose skin. It could be, I don't know, like the small woven, tiny lotus root. It could be anything. It could be made out of anything because that's what Bottega does. It does beautiful camouflaging of textile to look like one thing when it's really not that thing. I assume that it is actually probably a stiff denim, some sort of untreated raw denim, but it seems to have some sort of lighter fabrication to it as well, because normally when you see raw denim, it's very dark because it's untreated. Here, this is much lighter than your usual sort of raw, unsalvaged denim. I do like the fact that it's like Canadian tuxedo. I think it's chic that there's a shirt and a tie underneath. Very fun. I like the brown shoe. I like the brown bag. I like the brown belt. Some straight men make it really difficult seeming to pair a brown belt and a brown shoe and a brown bag and a brown shoe, or a black bag and a black shoe and a black belt and a black shoe together. I think Jet's doing a really great job of showing no, you can do it. Doesn't take that much work. It's really not that much of a conundrum. I think it's cool, I think it's casual, and I think the use of the shirt and the tie gives it a little bit more of a professional feeling, a little bit more dressed up, yet still remains chic, elegant, and Bottega. So your name is enough. Next up, quick shout out to Justin Bieber, who wore marine Serre. I love a marine Serre crescent moon. And I think that the little shirt version, I saw it and I was like, oh, Justin, okay, I see you. I couldn't figure out who Kendall Jenner was actually wearing, but she has this little puffer coat on. Maybe it's Kai. I hope it's not Kai, for all of our sakes. But she's also wearing this pair of slightly flared leather pants and a little black boot. It's cute. I think it's chic. I think it's casual. I think it's easy. I think it's very Kendall off-duty. I'm not gooped. I'm not gagged. It's there. She looks nice. And following, we have Kim, who wore this full Balenciaga look. It's a Balenciaga moto-inspired pant and matching jacket. She has a little baseball hat on. I don't really love the hat, to be completely honest. I don't really love the moto thing again from Balenciaga. I tolerated those things and those styles because I understood that they were a commercial part of the business and it made sense and I got it. But we were also getting like more exciting moments, more fashion, more Cristobal, Balenciaga inspired things. And now in the era where we're like kind of not getting that, I'm good. I'm okay. I don't really want to see it anymore. So thank you, no thank you. Next up we have Patrick Mahomes. And now, see, I did not know that Patrick Mahomes had his own brand. Now, I did discover that because I was, like, looking at the big suitcase that he's carrying that has a logo, and I was like, what is that logo? And then I said, PM. Oh, no. It's time to hit the hay. Listen, I get having merch, but I feel like the NFL has merch, you know, jerseys with your name on it. Like, did we need our own brand? And I'm also a little nervous that the suit that he's wearing is maybe his own brand. I think it is his own brand because it's not a Louis Vuitton monogram. I'm pretty positive. Also, like, the pant leg, I don't really get, like, the length of with the shoe. A like, patent leather slipper loafer. Also, I just don't get, like, the LV bag with the Patrick Mahomes logo thing. Like, if we're just gonna do Patrick Mahomes brand, just follow it all the way through, you know what I mean? Like, we don't need a little bit of both. We could just do one. There's enough monogramming happening. And then the sunglasses, the no sock, like Patrick Mahomes, like his wife, they need to cross the fashion bridge. I would love that for them because it would make my life a lot easier and would make less strain for my eyeballs. Next up, we have Reba, a single mom who works too hard wearing Ralph Lauren. Love it. I don't know exactly what the blazer is, but it's either woven with some sort of metallic or it's fully crystallized. It's definitely not a sequin. I think it might be like tiny mini crystals or tiny mini rhinestones. But I think it's cool. I think it's chic. I think it's elegant. And weirdly enough, I don't think that it's actually fighting for attention with the pants that are fully embroidered and side fringed. There's a fringe on that seam. We love to see it. I think it's a cool, Ralph Lauren moment. Honestly, I feel like Reba and Ralph Lauren, maybe not always what comes to mind together as a collaboration in terms of branding or celebrity dressing, but I think this works. I think it's kind of chic. I like the big belt. I feel like everything's bigger in Las Vegas. I know that's everything's bigger in Texas, but we're working with what we got here. Overall, honestly, I love Reba. So I was happy to see it. Next up, we have to talk about Taylor Swift. Honestly, I kind of liked it. Normally, I'm not a Swiftie in the fashion department. As soon as Taylor is not in front of me in terms of this camera, Taylor is out of Luke's mind. But she is wearing a Dion Lee sort of corset top, which I like. I love Dion Lee. I think he's cool. I think it works. I think it makes sense. And it's kind of chic casual. You know what I mean? People wear a lot of Dion Lee to like go out, to go party, to hang out and things like that. He does beautiful knitwear, but he also does these really interesting sort of corset crop tops and just bodice sort of top styles. And she's also wearing a pair of slitted area jeans that are piped in crystals at the slit, which again, love Area, very cool brand. They're both New York based. I think they're both up and coming brands. They're brands that, are independent. They're building themselves. And I'm happy that Taylor is like doing something along those lines. I think it's chic. I think it's elegant. I think that it shows also that, listen, these brands that sometimes on the runway are a little crazy, a little out there, also do have really chic commercial pieces that you can buy. I was very happy to see this from Taylor. You know what I mean? Like, I want more of this, a little bit more chic, a little bit more fun, a little bit more not restrictive and constrictive of certain exclusive mindsets. I'd like for Taylor to have more fun. Speaking of fun, Travis Kelce. Listen, I gotta say, I respect Travis Kelce. He definitely tries. He definitely wants to be a fashion guy. And like, I'm not mad about it. Listen, he's wearing a Amiri, which is the brand by Mike Amiri, and this tweed metallic black and silver suit that he's wearing might not be like my favorite thing ever. And it's really not my favorite thing ever because of the shoe choice. Firstly, Travis, if you're watching, if you're listening, again, you're wearing all black with silver detailing, and then you choose a brown suede boot. So like, if you had chosen a black suede boot, it would have been super passable, super great, but unfortunately, it's brown, and then your bag is also black, and I'm like, why? Amiri did not have a black boot for you? I know they did. So what was the reason? What is the choice? Why is the choice not making the right choice? I really do like the suit. I think it's cool. I think the wide leg is great. I think the use of the silver metallic is really different for menswear. It's shiny. It feels a little bit Chanel. And I think that's chic and elegant. The other issue that I really have with the boot is it's pointed. And it's not that I don't think that football players should wear pointed boots, because, like, again, I love Travis is wearing a boot. It's a nice little chunky little heel. But I think that a rounded toe boot, something a little bit thicker to pair with the wide leg pant, would be better. It feels a little too sharp at the bottom, and then you have this sort of lengthy, a little bit baggy leg. It doesn't fall as perfectly as we would like. Whereas I think if he had been wearing maybe something a little bit of a platform in terms of a boot, something a little bit, even like a Chelsea boot, I think it would have been a little bit better. Maybe this is a Chelsea boot, but like a rounded toe Chelsea boot, or I know that there's some sort of Amiri shoe in black that probably goes better with this outfit. So I respect a pointed toe and I respect a heel. I just think with this particular fit, it would have been done better changing the boot up a little bit. But I have to say, I do respect him. He has a swagger. He's trying. That's, again, not something that we see a lot of from menswear, and especially football player menswear. So where we get intriguing, effort-filled moments, I will take. Next up, we have Trey Dean, who is wearing full LV by Pharrell. It's a denim damier suit. I like it. I think the collarless element of this little jean jacket is cool. I think the fact that also it's cut not like a jean jacket, but rather a blazer, because you have that sort of curve as it moves into the hem, is really, really different than the usual sort of cut of a jean jacket. Normally, it's very straight at the bottom. It doesn't have that curve and that movement. And to me, that reminds me a lot of Pharrell. Honestly, I think the collarless comes from the time that he was collaborating with Chanel. I also think that just the understanding of the tailoring a little bit more. The pant, the flare leg damier, I don't hate it, I don't love it. I think also just because he's in motion, it's harder to really understand how the pant falls when he's still. And I think that's a lot of the celebrities, to be completely fair, is any of them that are moving, I think it is a little tough. Also, I just think football players do have different bodies than what is normally thought of and seen in menswear. That's my kind of thought on it. And I think it's rarer or it's newer for a lot of fashion brands to be dressing football players. Normally they'd buy their own stuff. But I think that when brands are dressing them, or if they are buying their own stuff, maybe they don't always have a tailor that really is working on making sure that they look good and everything fits super duper well, or works with the contours of their body. So maybe that's why this picture, I just don't love the flare here. I do love the damier in terms of all the different bags and the suitcase. I think it's fun. I think it's very Pharrell. And the damier, if you do not know, is essentially French for checkerboard. And that was a trunk style that was done, I think it's the second trunk motif that we ever saw from Louis Vuitton. The first was this gray sort of trunk, and then the gray trunks by LV were getting knocked off because they were so cool that they started to do the damier as a way to essentially say, like, no, this is Louis Vuitton trunk. And then those also got knocked off. So then they did the monogram, and then that got knocked off. So it's hard to be chic, I guess. But it's cool. I think overall, it's a nice little look. I think the blazer is rather chic, and it's definitely fitting in with Pharrell's vision, but feeling a little bit more everyday. And finally, we have Usher. Now, he is wearing off-white. This is a custom creation. It's a blue and black sequined set. The pants are kind of a wide leg pant with some sort of knee pad built in, and then the top is a faux pectoral and six-pack motif thing running through the center to definitely show off the fact that Usher has abs. And then he later took his shirt off to prove he does have real abs. I thought it was fun. I like when designers work with celebrities for performance wear, and I think that this Off-White moment, it works. I think Yves Kamara, who's the creative director of Off-White, did a good job here. I think Usher also lent himself to being a little bit more fashion, a little bit more creative. It's not radical by any means, but I also think with performance wear, it's not usually super duper radical because it's also about the ability for the performer to move. So I think this is a good blend of work and play. Now that is the end of today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let's talk about best and worst. I'll say Charles Omenihu is one for me. I also did really like Alicia Keys. Oh, and I loved Reba. I thought Reba looked great. Let me put Taylor Swift in there, because that's not normal, but I think Taylor Swift did a good job of not trying to draw attention to herself via her outfit, and I think that is commendable. So as for worst, Patrick Mahomes, he won the Super Bowl, so like he'll be fine, he'll be okay. Oh, Ariana and Cynthia, did not love. I appreciate the effort, but there's only so much appreciation for effort that I can appreciate. I think that's it. I think that's good. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next video, and TTYL.